Good morning to everyone, and happy Friday. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Scott Orr, and I'm Vice President of Sales at Doxim. I'm also joined this morning by Mr. Nahal Titan, who is Vice President at Claim MD. And you'll hear from Nahal a little later in our presentation, but it's certainly a privilege to be here with you this morning, and we greatly appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I certainly hope that everyone has had a enjoyable and a productive conference to this point, and we certainly hope that our presentation today contributes and adds to that experience for you. The title of our presentation this morning is Accelerating Your Revenue Cycle with Regulated Print and Digital Communications. And as we look at our agenda and some of the points we will be highlighting throughout our discussion, we're here to talk about new opportunities to perhaps expand into patient statements as a solution that would correspond very nicely with the claims work that you may do, and also help providers to better understand and serve their patients by means of digital statements, and along the way certainly accelerate the revenue cycle process. We will provide some insight into what matters to providers, how they think, and what they're looking for as it relates specifically to statements and billing. We will also highlight some best practices and solutions for consideration should you choose to want to expand your business offering to include healthcare-related statements. And then we'll also wrap up by explaining the value of a partnership with a print and digital expert, and how Doxim's expertise specifically can enable you to deliver on these solutions and services. And this will include a brief case study featuring a Claim MD to serve as an example as to how this can be done. So we look forward to having a nice discussion this morning. So let's assume that you're here at this conference and perhaps this presentation specifically because you're looking to breathe new life into your business. And what are some of the reasons that you want to do that? Well, perhaps you're looking to offset shrinking margins on traditional services that perhaps initially got you into the door with your clients. Perhaps you're looking to expand into new revenue streams. And you're looking to get into patient statements on behalf of the healthcare providers that you work with today. And then also you're looking to position yourself with value-added services in print and digital communications. Now, as we know, many clearinghouses already have excellent and strong working relationships with providers and provider networks. So what does that mean? Well, they're in a prime position to leverage existing client relationships to bring more to the table, if you will. This would be expanding upon the existing services that are already in place, meeting providers' future-facing needs with valuable business services. So being a partner not only for today, but also with tomorrow in view as well. So this brings us to our first poll question that we would invite you and certainly encourage you to take part in. And that is, in terms of adding e-patient statements to your portfolio of services, how far along is this decision? And the options are: I'm in discovery mode, perhaps just learning about it. I'm actively exploring. We think it's a logical move for our business. Or I'm committed to this path, investigating in-house versus outsourcing. So again, we look forward to your results in addressing that question. So this raises another question that we would like to consider that's very important in this equation, and that is, what really does matter to providers when we're talking about the statements and billing? What are they looking for? What matters to them? Well, one thing we know for sure, and that is they want to improve the patient experience. That is a priority to them. So it can be done in a number of ways. This can be done by digitizing those statements, making them easily accessible to patients through self-serve portal access. And they want to design these statements with this better experience in mind. In other words, how the information is presented on the document, what fonts are used, what wording is used, what's the overall look and feel of the document. And then in harmony with this, the other important objective is the reducing of their revenue cycle time. So it's very interesting. The same elements that are pivotal in creating a better experience for the patients are also extremely crucial to helping to reduce the time to revenue. Digital delivery is faster with greater open rates. Clear and complete content is getting better responses and quicker turnaround times. And it can be easier to pay if there's a link provided in these e-statements and documents. So here's a little bit more of a background into each of these two main objectives. Healthcare consumers of all generations are increasingly becoming more and more open to digital healthcare communications, with the digital first younger generation leading the way. It's interesting, Accenture tells us that today that there are new expectations, with more than 70% of patients preferring digital communications and more than half expecting digital capabilities. So we are seeing new models of engagement emerge. Things like online appointment booking, secure email or text reminders, preventative follow-up care, video conferencing, document e-presentment through via patient portals. And times of change, you'll find, are often times for new opportunities. So we find that many clearinghouses are looking to expand their services to providers, growing into new areas and gaining new revenue streams, and looking to help them to do that along the way. And this is where Doxim can really help with this effort and with those goals and that strategy. So a few best practices that we'll look to highlight at this point. For any expansion into patient statements, there are some important best practices that are critical to doing this successfully. So you need to equip yourself with both print excellence and then also expertise when it comes to regulated statements. Patients respond to statements that are attractive, statements that are well designed and easy to use, and this drives improved responses. You can also need the ability to archive those digital files into a central location where they can be managed securely and within compliance. This level of enterprise content management is also very critical when it comes to this equation as well. Once stored, you'll need to secure these e-presentments documents through a portal interface that supports ease of integration. And this can happen through providers' patient portal. This can happen through various government portals or any other portals that are required. And then it's also extremely important to consider where things are going in terms of the industry. You need a digital-first omni-channel capability in which to leverage. And in terms of acquiring these best practices and technologies, you may want to consider the value that your partner or your current solution brings to the table. So this brings us to our second poll question that we would kindly ask you to consider, and that is, in terms of patient statements and communications, what are your greatest concerns? We would ask that you would select your top three. So the options would be current print capabilities are inadequate, digital capabilities are inadequate, complexity of managing regulated data, statement composition, compliance with regulation, portal integration and e-presentment, and ability to keep pace with leading technology. So at this time, we'll talk a little bit about our organization, that being Doxim, and the value of partnering with Doxim to perhaps help your efforts in these goals and some of these strategies that we've highlighted. So we'll take a couple of minutes to talk about us as an organization and take a look at our snapshot here. So Doxim was founded in 2000 as a digital-first company to help clients in regulated industries with their digital transformation journey. And we actively support over 2,000 clients today across North America, and we are comprised of over 500 employees across North America as well. We have 7 sales and support locations that we operate out of, and also we have 9 modern Tier 3 data centers that we use as well. Now, while we pride ourselves in being a digital customer communication management solution provider, We also fully respect that there is still very much a need and a demand for effective and efficient print and mail fulfillment as part of this industry and this vertical specifically. And those capabilities have to work very much in conjunction with the digital side of the business as well. So that said, please note that our North American footprint also features 7 state-of-the-art print facilities across North America as well. And of course, certainly within healthcare, we understand and take very seriously security and compliance, and have various certifications that reflects our effort in that regard, and also some awards that we have received in recognition of those efforts when it comes to security and being in compliance. And just as a brief little snapshot, this captures just some of the healthcare organizations that we currently are partnered with and do work with day in and day out on a regular basis. And we feel this points to our experience and our expertise within this specific vertical. So just a few more points that we feel support our credentials to be able to help in this regard. And that is we do know healthcare, and the solutions and the services that we have put in place and that we have designed and introduced were done so specifically with healthcare in mind. As we mentioned before, we have 2,000 plus engaged clients. This means that Doxim is large enough to handle your work, but agile and responsible enough to meet your customized needs. And from a legacy standpoint, we started from a print and mail PDF composition and delivery capability out of our production sites. But then as time has continued to go on, we've needed to evolve and we've needed to change. And that's really that process, that development process that we've undertaken. So now we're also known and very much delivering to the industry print and e-statements, HTML interactive communications, video, email, text, two-way secure communications, automation and reporting, just to name a few. So we also talked about how it's important to have a CCM portal that can allow for this type of a communication that's necessary. And we're empowering businesses and our partners to self-serve, to manage communications, and leveraging engagement insights. And this starts with our input, being able to take in any data, any format, any platform, applying any application, and then certainly flowing through our system and our capabilities, and then the various output that's involved, web, mobile, print, reporting, and various metrics. So again, the key components of this that certainly encircle all of these capabilities are security, compliance, and redundancy. So Doxim provides a streamlined process, world-class print and knowledge for regulated statements. And one important point to this that we certainly want to highlight is the tools that we have in place that are there for approval, tracking, and reporting. So we're talking about being able to confirm what's been received from a data standpoint, confirm back what's been mailed, what's been emailed, what's been sent, what's been archived. That is certainly a critical component of providing a well-rounded solution when it comes to customer communications management, and in this case, patient communications within healthcare. So another phase of our business that we often want to highlight, and that is our business continuity capabilities as well. So perhaps you're an organization today that does print internally, and that's been very successful for you. What would happen if there is some sort of a disaster in some way, shape, or form, or some development that would not allow you to be able to print? Maybe it would be a fire, a flood, earthquake, or an extended power outage, or whatever the case may be. That's something that you have to consider in this day and age, and still be able to operate and get your work and the communication out the door. So Doxim also offers a business continuity solution to our partners, and that is on a regular monthly basis. We do 10 to 15% of our partners' work each month. And what happens is that if there was an event, whatever the nature of it may be, where they cannot produce their work and print and get things out the door that are regulated in nature, then that 10 to 15% that we do could move to 50%, 75%, even 100% in a very short period of time. And so that's a nice backup plan, safety net, if you will, that is used each and every month. And that way, if there was circumstances where that sort of support was needed, since we're doing it every month, even during normal safe times, should there be a need to expand that and make that 100%, well, we're not starting from scratch at that point. There's already history. There's already a flow of data in business that's already regularly going back and forth, and we would not be starting scratch, so to speak. So another way in which we're helping the healthcare community to be able to provide successfully and efficiently regulated communication. So our poll question number 3 that we would pose at this time is, patient statements are usually print and digital. What is the current state of your print capabilities? And we would ask you to choose all that may apply. We do very little printing. We manage printing adequately in-house. We manage printing adequately via outsourcing. We need greater print capacity and are looking to outsource. We need redundancy for business continuity purposes. So we would appreciate having some feedback on that and hearing what your view of those options may be. And we're talking about another phase of being able to help expand your service portfolio for providers, and that is Doxim's modern digital capabilities can equip you to drive new revenue streams with the management of patient statements. And this graphic here shows rather simply how the flow of data would go and what the end result would be, how it's originating from the clearinghouse, going through the input data into the Doxim system, us doing the processing, conversion, and ultimately having it come out to be able to, depending on who it's supposed to go to at that point, if we're talking claims, denials, appeals to the payer, EOPs, checks, claims, denials to the provider, and again, specifically in this presentation, also coming through this process would be statements for the patient as well. So it's a very clean, very methodical process in terms of data in, and then ultimately coming back out again in the proper fashion that it needs to. So, and as we talked about previously, we understand that security and making sure that this process is done efficiently, cleanly, and in an extremely secure fashion is mission critical. So we have the enterprise-grade document archiving capabilities. We support any file, unlimited document type categories, document versioning, compliance, and an audit trail. And again, the various certifications and the third-party audits that we go through each year point to how we're able to do this in a secure manner, and that there's no corners being cut in any way, shape, or form. And also the business portal integration and E-Presentment. We talked about how important the portal element is to this communication flow anymore. And we're really driving a modern experience for patients that would use our CCM portal and our enterprise content management and APIs. Again, it's a centralized location for E-Presentment, APIs for patient portal integrations, controlled document sharing, and of course, digital notifications as well. And we're also finding too that it's becoming more and more necessary that you can provide ADA compliance to the various documents and statements that we would produce on behalf of our partners and our clients. And as you can see in the example here, there are many different elements to this that make this compliant, that allows for individuals who are visually challenged to be able to see their statement and read this very important information accordingly. And that's something that we take very seriously. and we're helping our clients and partners to be able to do this up to the latest standards and expectations in that regard. And not only is it the right thing to do, but from a legal standpoint, it's also a very important component of this data flow and transactional communication as well. So we find here that Doxim's processes are built for compliance, making it easier to keep pace with regulatory changes from a security and privacy standpoint. We take very seriously things such as being HIPAA compliant and also our SOC 2 audits and certification. We talked about accessibility as well, and making sure that the statements that we produce and the organizations that we work with are up to date and up to speed on what those regulations are in terms of accessibility. And then also interoperability legislation, and making sure that these documents are compliant, that they can be digitized accordingly, archived, and have portal and E-Presentment access as well. And this is a very important part, we think, of the statement process, is the white space that's on documents, and how to make sure that those are used to the full. We encourage our partners and clients not to just look at the regulatory communication process as a check the box exercise, but rather use it strategically. Look at it as a potential one-on-one state appointment with your patients and your clients. There's regulatory information that must be on there, and that's certainly the main reason for sending it out. But in the process, you can use blank areas and white space areas to provide other sorts of communication that is very, very important. You can do things such as driving knowledge and education, maybe highlighting awareness and wellness messaging, ways to drive additional revenue in terms of cross-promotion and cross-marketing of various services and capabilities that you may deliver and want to advise your patients and clients on. And also an area that provides claim rejection explanation and other details and explanations that, again, provide for a much better patient experience in terms of information and directions that they need to know. So we like to collaborate with our partners to make sure that we're taking full advantage of this communication process and using it for multiple things in conjunction with the regulatory portion of it as well. And we're also finding, too, that there's a tremendous opportunity to optimize your digital channel with HTML statements. And HTML is offering many more options to be able to communicate and present documents and data in a variety of ways. Marketers, we find, want statements that are designed with certain dynamics and that are responsive in nature. We find that patients expect a easy and flexible interaction. And one key way to accomplish both of those things is by using HTML to the full. It's very much like an app-like experience. It's responsive to all digital platforms, and it can adjust to whichever device a patient may be using to look at their statements or any other documents. It's dynamic in messaging. You're able to do so much more with it. It's interactive directly and immediately. It's certainly accessible, and there's easy template changes that are involved with HTML versus a traditional PDF. So again, another way to take this communication and this document presentment to a whole new level via HTML presentment. So at this point in time, we're going to talk to one of our partners, and we'll talk to Mr. Nahal Titan, who is Vice President at ClaimMD, and we'll turn things over to him, and he'll share a few things with you about ClaimMD, and then we'll also talk about some of our engagement together as partners.
Scott, thanks again for having us, for inviting us here, and thanks everyone for participating in this virtual webinar. So ClaimMD is a EDI clearinghouse. We're a national clearinghouse. Most of you are probably aware what a clearinghouse does, but in simple terms, I like to say that we're kind of like FedEx for claims and related transactions. Obviously, we do more than just deliver the data, but it's a huge part of it is getting data quickly to the insurance carriers for our customers and response data back just as fast. In addition, we validate the information that comes to our system, clean it, and help alert you if there's transaction issues or problems that need to be corrected, and simplifying that process as much as we can. We're proud to say that we serve 50,000 providers now and have processed over 1 billion transactions. IMD's been in this industry for over 30 years, so we have a lot of experience to pull from. So thanks, Scott. So yeah, I'm just going to read this quote, and it's fantastic. Working together with Doxim, IMD is able to provide enhanced services to a vast array of providers, payers, and across the United States. And Doxim has given us the technology to scale and the expertise to support us in processing the hundreds of millions of yearly transactions. With the capabilities provided by Doxim, we're setting ourselves further apart from the competition, and this is true. So we're gaining enhanced speed and efficiency regardless of that channel.
Well, thank you very much, Nahal. We appreciate learning a little bit about your fantastic organization, ClaimMD, and getting some insight on that. And also thank you for addressing the quote on your experience as working with Doxim to this point. So we're going to take that a little step further and just ask you a couple of questions regarding some of the elements that we've talked about here this morning in our presentation, just to get your take on things and what your experience has been. And hopefully that can provide us with some insight on some of the challenges that we've spoken about in the vertical, and then some of the solutions that we've proposed as well. So the first question, Nahal, I'll ask you is, from your perspective and experience, how would you describe the state of healthcare communications? And with respect to claims, where is it heading?
Sure. Thanks, Scott. So, we've all seen there's been a lot of changes in the industry. Data is moving electronic in many different ways. In a lot of ways, it's improving that medical process or exchanging data. But I think consistently, what we've seen as a result is it's meant more data, more and more data exchanged, more data stored, more data we're reporting on. So in the past 30 years that we've been doing this, we've spent that time trying to perfect the electronic claims process. And I think we've done a pretty good job in that direction. But interestingly, in that process, we've discovered that there's still a lot of importance to paper data. And honestly, there's still cases where billers have no option but to send paper. So it's something that it took us as much as we tried to shy away from it. It's something that we realized we needed to build functionality to better support that. And as far as the future holds, there's this trends of more data is going to continue, and related to medical claims. Right now, on our side, we're really looking forward to greater adoption of electronic attachments on medical claims, and we'd like to see that increase. We know it's going to be a while before we see 100% adoption from insurance carriers. So, yeah.
Good. Appreciate that, Nahal. Thank you so much. So our next question is, what were the key challenges you were contending with, and which led you to Doxim?
Sure. We had four main challenges that really brought us to Doxim. One of them is that we recently reinvented the EDI enrollment process. So anyone who's done billing is aware the process of completing EDI enrollments is fairly tedious. It's every insurance carrier has their own paperwork or steps that have to be completed. In many cases, you've got to print the paperwork, you've got to fill it out correctly. There's mailing and faxing, and if you're dealing with a large number of providers, that's just multiplied. So we built a tool where our customers could complete those EDI enrollment steps in just a couple of clicks. We were really proud of it. And in this process, we realized there's actually a lot of cases where payers still required a hard copy of that data to be printed and mailed to them. So to accomplish this for all of our payers, we wanted a one tool that did everything. We needed a partner to help us allow that, single hit a button and all your paperwork's magically sent off for you. In addition, we're trying to apply that same streamlined workflow to our electronic appeals process. We had this appeals process in place, and we're building this functionality so that that we can generate an appeal packet for a claim along with the payer's appeal forms, the UB04, the 1500, and remittance data, and they can hit a button and send that off electronically, hopefully. But there's still so many payers, again, that don't have that capability yet to handle electronic data. So, we said we really want to make this an option for every payer. And again, we needed a partner that would allow us to streamline that printed workflow. Thirdly, we've had a recent major push to expand that electronic attachment functionality with the claims. And in doing so, we realized that we needed to apply the same functionality and tools and simplicity for sending electronic attachments, let our customers have one streamlined workflow that they could send to every payer a claim, and then also include any additional documentation that they needed to send out to them. And then the last thing that we were facing was this expanding payer-partner relationships that we've been working on, and the need that there are cases where we needed to be able to generate electronic checks and EOPs for our payer relationships to improve those partnerships, and we need someone that had those capabilities to increase that relationship.
Thank you, Nahal. We appreciate that. And then our final question is, how does a partnership with Doxim help you to address these gaps and challenges that you mentioned and offer more solutions to your customers?
Thanks. Yeah, so Doxim's been pretty key in the success of all of those elements I was just listening. Each one of them, we had a real specific design that we had about how we were going to communicate this data. We wanted full control over how our print media was not only produced, but packaged and enveloped, and it needed to be streamlined and essentially fully automated, right? We wanted our system to have a level of control that we needed. So, Doxim was key in making that simple and easy, and I'm happy to say that when all of these key elements came into play, we didn't have a lot of time to actually get them, the print side implemented, and we went with Doxim. We went from contracting to production in only a month, which we were very impressed with.
Well, thank you, Nahal. We appreciate that, and it's been a pleasure working with you and your team as well. And we're very happy to help you down this path and help you create new opportunities for your company and expand upon what you're doing with your clients that are in place today. So thank you for those answers. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So at this time, we will take a few minutes to wrap up and maybe entertain a few questions that come in, and then also maybe look at the some of the results from the poll questions. But just in the way of conclusion, we really feel that there's a tremendous opportunity within this vertical for clearinghouses to branch out and do more things. Building off of that business and that foundation involving claims to now include patient statements on behalf of providers. And it's interesting that some of the tools and elements that are needed to create a better experience for patients also work very well and hand in hand with accelerating the revenue cycle management and shortening that process time as well. So we think that there is a tremendous opportunity for the clearinghouses to do so, and to also use some of these solutions, the cutting edge technology, to really get the most out of this transactional communication process, and bring a lot more to your clients and partners. And we would certainly appreciate an opportunity to demonstrate some of that in person, like we have with Nahal and ClaimMD, and to learn a little bit about your strategies, your business, and how some of these solutions and tools that we have can keep you ahead of the curve as this industry continues to change and communication specifically continues to evolve. We want to keep you ahead of the curve, not chasing the curve. So any opportunity to do that and to work to help enhance this whole process would be certainly appreciated, and we would look forward to that. So Nahal, I know you're manning some of the controls here behind the scenes on some of the information that's coming in, so I'll turn that back over to you.
Sure. Scott, did you want to do questions or the poll results first?
Why don't we do the poll results first?
Okay, great. So I'll read through some of these and give you guys the feedback. I don't think there's a way I can put it on the screen, but that first poll question was, in terms of adding patient statements to your portfolio of services, how far along is the decision? 77% of people said that they're in discovery mode and learning about it. 13% said they're actively exploring, and 10% said they're committed to this path and investigating in-house versus outsourcing. Okay,
very interesting. So 77%. That's a pretty good majority there. Interesting. How about the next one?
So, in terms of patient statements and communications, what are your greatest concerns? 26% of people said the ability to keep pace with leading technology. 21% said compliance with regulation. 16% is complexity of managing regulated data and statement composition. 15% current print capabilities are inadequate. 11% digital capabilities are inadequate, and 10% portal integration and E-Presentment.
Okay, all right, all valid concerns, and it's interesting that those are spread out relatively evenly.
Yeah.
For the most part there. Good feedback for sure.
Patient statements are usually print and digital. What is the current state of your print capabilities? We've got 43% we manage our printing adequately in-house. 35% we do very little printing, and 18% we manage printing adequately via outsourcing. Then there's just 2% for both. We need greater print capacity, looking to outsource, and we need redundancy for business continuity.
Okay, very good. So a lot still printing internally. So I think that tells us that perhaps a business continuity solution would certainly be in order in some of those cases, given the fact that so many are still printing in-house. That's good feedback as well.
So if you want, Scott, we have a little bit of time still. We could do some of these questions. It looks like
sure.
Questions that have come in. This one, I believe, is for you. So they're asking, are we able to track the dates of statements sent and the number of statements so that the hospitals can quickly determine if they have met any associated requirements as it relates to bad debt?
Sure. That's certainly able to be done. So we call that a mail acknowledgement report that would show when the document in the mail piece itself was sent into the postal stream. So we send those routinely as part of our collaboration with partners in the healthcare space, and we realize how critical that is to be able to confirm those and improve that. And so, yes, we have a full reporting system designed to make sure that information is easily captured, easily administered, and certainly confirmed. So very good question, and that's very much an integral part of what we do day to day for the industry.
Great. I've also got what security exists for the electronic transmitted bills and approval. I'm sorry, electronic bills and the portal.
In the portal. Okay. Well, I know that much of our processes in that, much like the physical print and mail work, much of, not much, all of our electronic work and processes and procedures are also open to full third-party audits and various certifications within IT security. That and there's just as much time and effort spent on making sure that those are completely satisfied, and we go above and beyond on that front, just as much as we do on the physical print and mail side as well. So I'm not in IT to be able to go too much into the weeds on that, but I do know that there's a tremendous amount of work that is done to make sure that we are in compliance in that regard. We have many individuals within our company who are dedicated to doing just that on the electronic side. If somebody would like to reach out to me further, I could probably get some more deep dive data regarding that to be able to answer that question. But again, as we talked about in our presentation, security and compliance are extremely important, no matter what the phase of the business that we're talking about, and certainly that applies to the electronic portion of it as well.
Great. I'm not sure if this question's for you or me, Scott, but I'll throw it out here. It says, do you have payers that become encouraged to implement the functionality and capabilities? I'm going to say if that's on the clearinghouse side, certainly we are always trying to encourage payers to adopt electronic functionality, new capabilities, new transactions, and yeah, it's something that we're constantly working on to encourage and grow.
Okay.
Here's a good one. Scott, has text been explored in delivering e-statements?
So we do offer text communication in terms of being able to advise people that documents are ready, reminders, so on and so forth. That's part of our entire suite of customer communications management that we offer. In terms of is the document itself within the text message, I do not believe that is, I could be wrong on that. I don't believe that it's accepted at this time. But as technology continues to advance and things become more and more digital in nature, is that something that's probably not too far down the line, at least in some fashion? I would say it probably is. But to answer the question, I don't think we're doing document delivery through text right now, especially on the healthcare side. But we are providing other communications via text and reminders and informative information that is somewhat linked to documents being available and documents being ready. And please check this or please check that. But very good question. And there's no doubt. I mean, text messaging is picking up steam through a number of verticals within transactional communication and data flow. So it's going to continue to be something that's a talking point, and I think very strongly that you'll see technology continue to evolve along those lines.
Okay. Are you able to label the pages on documents to ensure the complete document was sent?
Yes, we are able to do that. It depends on how complex somebody wants that to be, but in general terms, we can do things like that. And again, I think that's a good example of we can paint with a broad brush and talk about healthcare regulatory documents and communications, but we have the capabilities of being able to tailor a solution based upon these capabilities to each one of our partners. And each one of our partners, no matter what vertical, they're going to have a certain unique elements of things that they feel that their clients or their patients need or can take advantage of in a positive way. So that's part of us being agile and being open-minded and flexible in terms of being able to craft a solution that is not cookie cutter in nature, but also very specific to the unique needs and strategies associated with each one of our individual partners.
Great. So we're getting close to finishing up, but I think we can do just a couple more questions here. What opportunities does Doxim offer, if any, to make the patient statement at a more appropriate reading level for the patient or their family? The intention here is to reduce or eliminate calls related to the understandability from recipients.
Sure. So that's where we would really appreciate and look forward to an opportunity for our team to work with organizations to be able to use every tool and solution that we have to make this a better experience, as we highlighted in the presentation. And I think this question here points to one of the ways that can be done. So again, we don't have a cookie cutter approach to communication in any way. We would be willing to sit down and work with various representatives from your team to see how do you want these documents to look, what's important, what's some of the wording that is used, what are the fonts that are used, how are you taking advantage of all the different white space on each document to make sure that you're addressing important communication pieces that you want to get out to your patients or clients or whatever the case may be. So I think in a situation like that, we would collaborate very closely with your team, get a clear idea of what you want this to look like, what issue or challenge you're trying to address, and then come up with various proposals that shows how we can do that and assist in that regard. So that would be something that we could do rather effectively and something that we've done for many clients that have similar requests or concerns.
How did partnering with Doxim reduce your FTEs that previously handled patient statements? What was that reduction, if any? So this is probably not a question that I can answer since we don't do patient statements, but Scott, you can probably discuss that hours required difference for in processing patient statements in-house or working with Doxim.
In terms of the processing time, or?
Yeah, what's the reduction they're asking for? Your FTEs that previously handled patient statements, what was the reduction, if any? I'm assuming going from manual to using Doxim.
Sure. So again, we would have our team of programmers that have seen any type of file and input that there is within the industry, and have a chance to do some analytics on that, to do some diagnostics on that, and make sure that we are looking at every possible way to make sure that processing time is reduced as much as possible, make it as quick as possible, but not sacrificing the thoroughness and the accuracy of it and the completeness of it, if you will. So if there is a way to be able to limit that processing time and make that as quick and as smooth as possible, then our team will be able to do that. And it's amazing. Sometimes we have seen files that when we're getting ready to work with somebody and they've decided to go with us and they send some initial test files, how we've been able to tweak this and tweak that and really reduce the processing time involved. And so, yeah, we look at each opportunity that we have as an opportunity to do just that and provide some assistance in that regard. Again, with the goal of cutting that processing time down, but again, not cutting corners on the efficiency of it or the thoroughness of it as well.
Good. I'm trying to throw one more out here, and let's see if we can tackle this together maybe. Is anyone looking into investigating HIN, or the Health Information Network, for this revenue cycle function? So, on the clearinghouse side, the Health Information Network is something that we definitely investigate and are keeping close track of, and especially in relation to electronic attachments. But most of our vendor partners, if they're including some kind of media that would be going in and out of the Health Information Network, they're pulling it out directly so they can associate it with any claim data they would be submitting. Scott, do you have anything to add about that one?
No, I think that's something that, we're aware of, we're monitoring, but we haven't had a whole lot of, I would say, deep experience with that at this point.
Great.
Okay, well, so again, well, thank you everybody for your time today. We appreciated it. It's been a pleasure to engage with everybody. I certainly want to thank Nahal and ClaimMD for participating and assisting us along today as well. And again, thank you so much for your time. I hope everybody continues to stay safe and has an excellent weekend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, good.